Why is the jury laughing?
Zero chance of winning the game.
Supposed to talk glamour to you.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer.
Lee, is there any way I could have your jacket?
Welcome back to Survivor Breakfast. We're talking season 45, the finale. Oh no. Oh no. I didn't see that. Oh my god.
Point to Kale. Point to Kale once again. Point to Kale.
What do you point to Kale? He's taking D off for
Winner pick, baby.
No, you can't pick D like 3/4 of the season and then claim it.
That wasn't 3/4. First of all, that was like halfway through.
You're actually, you know what you're doing by doing this? You're actually you're diminishing the call from last season, because you actually had a decent call last season, and now this season, if you're gonna call
Jam was early. I mean, listen. There's winners picks on winners picks coming my way. That's just what's happening here. It's just what's happening. I did not call Gabler. I'll be fair. I did not call Gabler.
No, you called one person, and it was Jam, and it was last season. That was that. And that's the end of the story. You said D like when there were 6 people left. That's dope.
No. I said D after Caleb went, and I'll give you that it was halfway through the season. But I did swap to D.
No, that's not true.
I think it was later.
Go back to the film. Go back to the film.
If you go back to the film, you can hear me saying of your top 3 people in the first episode, I said watch D. So, I mean, if we want to play that game. But I don't play that game. You play that game. I don't play your game.
Kale's just that guy.
All right, yeah, D1.
D1.
Yeah, if anybody didn't know who the winner was, it was D.
A live stream about it. The finale was unbelievably long, 3 hours.
Sim, it's always 3 hours. I don't know why you're acting like that's new for some reason.
I guess I must have forgotten, but it's the 1.5 hour episodes that's throwing me off this season. It's been throwing me off all season.
To be honest,
1.5 hour episodes were great.
Yeah, I actually think that it was well paced as opposed to like before. I feel like it was such a jump from going from, one episode, which was really only like 40 something minutes of content with the commercials and everything, to the 3 hour finale, obviously commercials included too. I feel like this was a little bit like better paced. Like, I feel like I was like, oh, it's just a long episode,
Oh, it was great. No. It added the context. I mean, we don't have to get into the big picture of talking about the season, but it added character development to all the necessary characters that was missing in a couple seasons. Biggest example I would say is Erica from season 41. Her character development was just missing, honestly, just missing in action, MIA. It allowed for the character developments. Did we lose a couple parts? Like, there's one of the things I want to talk about is that, like, the Bruce edit. Like, when you look back on this season, I don't really get it. And I'll be honest with you, even when I saw him sitting in the jury tonight post game, and yeah, he just looked, mentally taken out of it, sad even, to be honest with you. And I felt bad a little bit. I was like, I don't know if he got beat up when he got back to Ponderosa. This is completely off track, random that we're talking about Bruce.
No,
but like, there's a couple things that the 90 minutes, led us on a few paths, but we really got everybody kind of fleshed out that needed to be fleshed out.
Yeah, I think so too. And it also, I mean, the 3 hours is shorter than it seems like, because a lot of that is after the winner's been announced and they're chit-chatting for
the reunion. I'm still not a fan. I'm still not a fan of this. I just think
Let's talk about the episode.
No, I'm just talking about the big reunion back in LA has always been fun.
Let's talk about the episode.
I'm with you though, Kale. There'll be a point. We'll talk about that. You go, Sim. I was thinking. I was gonna say something about the Bruce thing. Just like I think, Kale, it's a good point that you made, that like potentially part of the 90 minutes that we've been seeing has been like not like filler, but like fleshing out characters and then not maybe necessarily having the payoff that we were expecting. I mean, I thought a lot of Bruce's edit was going to be, at first, I thought it was going to be Kelly's conquering Bruce. And like, that was what Bruce was there for. And then after that, it seemed like it was kind of like maybe Katura's like conquering Bruce, because that was something teased even in the pre-merge. And then I feel like in the finale, like Bruce's whole edit almost was like boiled down to like the one thing that Emily said to him in the opening scene the marooning.
To what you're saying right there is that like, yeah, we all thought Bruce, because he was connected edit wise to multiple people, he ended up getting vanquished by Emily, which there really was minimal connection to from a storytelling standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff was a bit clunky on the Bruce standpoint. But listen, Survivor's done a really great job in the new era of having really great storytellers. I mean, all 6 people that started off the night tonight, great storytellers. I mean, we're talking, Katurah, we'll get into gameplay just, in just a second here. Katurah was a great storyteller, captivating, honestly. Jake was hilarious and went through every ounce of emotion that you could be. Julie had elements, where she was, a villain or almost, dastardly crazy at one point. And then you had the love story between those two, right? And so there was great storytelling happening all season long, and culminated to the big first event tonight, which was that final 5 tribal council.
Yeah, I think we should talk about the tribal that led to Julie going home. It seemed like nobody knew what was going on in that. I mean, we had single votes galore in this first tribal, right? We had Jake trying to pull a move with Katurah, trying to play his idol and blindside D.
Mm-hmm.
We had D voting for Katurah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she wasn't going to vote against Julie. We had Julie voting for Jake because she'd been trying to get Jake out for a long time now. And then we had Austin voting for Julie.
Just cause.
Just cause. And it was like, I mean, this was one of the most unclear votes going into it, for me at least, out of all the tribals this season.
For sure. I thought it was.
I thought Jake was going home.
It seemed like, how could Jake mess this up, and then he found a way to mess it up, not his own fault too.
We'll get into the layers.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, this is the layers of this actually starts. Let's just like back up even a little bit before this. Is that he wins that advantage in the challenge, and he squanders it in 2 separate blunders that are both worse. One is worse than the other. And it's just like, you feel for the guy, but at the same time, you're like, wake up. Like, what are you doing? And it really is Jake as a character. He's out there sobbing on the beach. I mean, he's like all over the place. So that's the backstory, is that like, he's already going into this like gun shy, and he's really trying to make a big move, with his idol. And the conversations with Katurah, I think, are really big before this, because it really leads to the sloppy gameplay. Because Jake goes up to Katurah and basically says, this is the time that we're going to come together and work for this. And Katurah actually convinces Jake, hey, let's not go for Julie. Let's go for D. It's Katurah's like telling Jake, saying, hey, let's go for D. And it's so convincing. It's so convincing to Jake that he actually says, I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my mind, Yeah.
So these 2 in particular are end up being real. They're both big catalysts for what transpired this season, because you separate the Reba 4, these 2 were moving along and navigating and storytelling the entire way through, but had a say because they were on the right side of the votes for Katurah's sake a lot of the time. You're right. Katura leaning towards D was the right play.
Was correct.
Was
Was correct.
1,000,000% the right play. But candidly, the bigger takeaway for Katura and for Jake, it was just another example of how
Yeah.
neither of them could really do it at the end of the
They
day.
couldn't do it.
This is the thing that frustrates me. It's like, yes, I also believe that going after D was the right move, but it didn't really matter, from my perspective, of whether you went after D or you went after Julie. You just had to make a cohesive move.
Oh yes, those two needed to desperately, and they.
I mean, if
Yeah.
I was Jake coming back to the beach after that tribal, like
I wouldn't even talk to her.
I was yelling at the TV. I was like,
I was pissed.
This was your only chance to make a move. So even if you thought, okay, well, I want to be on the right side of the vote, it doesn't matter if you're on the right side of the vote. It doesn't matter anymore.
Well,
Totally agree.
so I
It's
drilled
useless now.
I drilled
Could
down
not
the
agree
numbers.
more.
I drilled down the numbers. So in her head, she votes for Julie last second because she's scared she may go home, right? So she thinks that votes are coming her way, right? So best case scenario though, because she flipped to Julie, and her reasoning was that she knew there was at least one vote on Julie, but it wasn't Jake.
Yeah,
Because
she knew where
she
vote is
convinced
going.
Jake was D, right? So
At the
Jake's
very
vote.
least, she
Jake's
thought he was
vote
voting
is
for
D.
someone other than her.
What do you say?
Yes.
At the very least, she thought he was voting for somebody other than her, whether or not it was D or Julie.
No, but my point of what I'm going to say, it makes she should understand that Julie's never really the play here ever, knowing that he's voting for D. If
Yeah,
she
because
thinks if she thinks he's voting for Julie, then this is an okay play.
Yes.
It's not an okay play because she knows that she's going for D. So the best case scenario for her is that she's tying with somebody else and getting 2 votes with to Julie, and she's doing this in fear that 2 votes would be coming her way then, because throw Jake's vote out. So then it's a 2-2 tie. Julie and Katura can't vote. It's Austin D and Jake deciding the fate. I'm
And
sorry.
she goes home.
Katura's going home every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it made no sense. She knew where one of the votes was going because she claimed after, like, oh, I can't trust Jake. I'm like,
That's a
don't know.
fine take. That's a fine take because of what he had been doing up to that point. I'm fine with that.
But
the logic wasn't even there, to be honest.
The logic wasn't there.
It doesn't matter if you trust him or not.
Yeah.
I also just happen to believe that the way that the way that it was portrayed, at least to me, I knew he was voting for D. I'm like, he's voting for D. Like, he's saying it out loud. He swore on Nana. I know, like, you know, whatever, people swear on whatever, but when Jake says it like that, like, I feel like he's actually in. You convinced him that it's in his best interest to do it, and he knows you're voting that way too. So why would you change your vote at the last minute? And then she, like, blamed him for not telling her that he was going to play his idol for her. I'm like, you want the world from this kid. It's ridiculous. You said it yourself. It's in your best interest to get rid of D. And then the only saving thing for her is being self-aware enough, like, the next day to say, this is exactly what I thought would happen, and I did it to myself. I was like, you know what? I actually appreciate that, Katura, because you totally did this to yourself. 100%. You could have gotten rid of the couple.
To herself and Jake. She ruined both of their
games.
Okay. Fair. So I also want to dive into Jake's elements in how he approached this whole thing, because I think that matters too. But before we leave Katura, again, I do think it's really just a culmination of mistakes that the two of them were making. They could never come together. Even if it meant working in with Bruce, even if it meant working in with Emily, and Emily making the same blunder weeks ago when we yelled at you, Sim. It's like,
no, but this Kale,
yes,
was exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, I was going to give you vindication here because this is what you're talking about. This is what you're talking about. I agree.
Emily did what she did because she knew that
they couldn't come together.
Could not do anything.
Even in their own best interest, self-interest, they couldn't do it. The two of them could not do it. And
that's what I was trying to convey.
But don't you think that this is, like, messed up because everyone's talking about Jake being like kind of shady and like they can't really get a read on him.
No, Jake was playing the fucking Jake. I genuinely think had really good instincts out there.
I think Katurah screwed Jake over every single time. Every time that they had to come to the table, Katurah screwed Jake over. On the Caleb vote, Katurah screwed Jake over. On on all of these things, Jake was the one that he wasn't not trustworthy.
Let's not absolve, Jake screwing up the immunity challenges, could never
telling
win
everybody
one,
everything.
telling everybody everything, where there was an element of him telling it so that I actually agree. So we'll dive into it here. I do agree that from a Flash standpoint, everything that he said, he wanted Katurah's reaction to be genuine, right? So that probably gets a bigger standing ovation from the jury than just playing it on yourself. Now, if he never said anything, all the votes were coming his way and he would have played it on himself. Talk to me right now. Does what he did, saving Katurah, let's just say Katurah had the 3 votes against him, I think some of what him talking and saying and set everything else in motion for the rest of the chaos to happen. So ultimately, the votes never were going to Katurah, probably because he said something. If he didn't say anything, he would have had all the votes against him and he would have played the idol for himself.
Well, I think he's the only thing that I disagree with you on is that I think that he still would have played it for Katurah. There was no inclination. He didn't get any information that it was going to be him before he was going to play it. His loud mouth actually helped his plan because he said it to Austin and then Austin conveyed it to D. And then that's what made everybody say, we can't vote for Jake.
All right,
so Jake didn't know that was even in motion.
And that's totally fair. So this is one of my other thought processes too. I'm saying to myself, I'm okay with the thought and advent of potentially releasing the information about the idol to direct a different path.
Correct.
But you can only do so when you know what's in motion already. And you're right. Immediately, right post immunity challenge with no information having been conveyed, he's setting this plan in motion, yet he doesn't know anything at all.
Well,
no idea.
To be fair, with the number of people that are left, I think it's not unreasonable to assume that if I tell him about my idol, I'm not saying he did this, but if I tell Austin about my idol, the votes are going to Katurah. That's pretty reasonable.
Oh no, I understand that, but it's again, there's so many layers of thinking in this game that you have to be aware of.
Simi, are you saying just like by a matter of numbers, like a 25% chance?
Yeah. I mean, it's either her or Julie because you can make the assumption that Austin's not voting for D.
Yes,
and vice versa.
But you can't make the assumption that you're not on the table either.
I know, but what I'm saying,
I think you could squarely
off the table.
I think you could take yourself off the table if you're trying to set in motion. I have the idol. Don't even come near me. I think you can erase that.
If you say yes,
that's what he's saying.
Only Julie and Katurah are left on the table.
Yes,
right? And it's pretty reasonable for you to go. The votes are going to Katurah.
Yes.
But my big problem, my problem is that
he was not surgical with
this. He does this without any intel at all.
He's coming right,
so he can't even give himself the chance to dissect the rest of the group, because it would have been a much better situation had everybody voted him and he had his pick of the litter. That would have been a better situation. Yeah. There's a debate there's a debate on if that was option 1 and then option 2 was 3 votes having gone to Katurah and then Katurah and him vote somebody out. Which one of those things are better?
Yes.
But what he set in motion was neither.
Yes.
What I think was happening out there, and this has kind of been my read on Jake for a little while now, is ever since Caleb left, Jake has had no home base. He's had
I candidly think none of them did.
No, but I'm doing a little psychoanalysis here. You know what I mean? I'm not saying.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, nothing against you.
Right? And so I think when he got on that, when he got pulled to the steak dinner with Austin, he was like,
I was picked.
He was like, I have somebody I can trust I need somebody that I can whatever. And I think that's what happened.
So I don't mean to be an ass, but
It's
you might
bad.
be 100. You might be 100% correct. And unfortunately, both him and Katura, both two examples here, just lacked that ultimate instinct to become a really good Survivor player. That's just what it comes down to.
Here's a question for you guys too on Jake's gameplay. If he told Katura, I'm gonna play an idol for you, does she then believe him, or does she continue not to believe him?
I have no idea. I don't know what she would do.
Yeah, I'm candidly of the belief, again, I still don't think he should have told anybody anything. So I would like the genuine reaction, which is what happened. Unfortunately,
I think that's
nothing
the best
mattered at that point. Didn't matter if he played it on himself. Didn't matter if he played it on Katura. Didn't matter.
I think with Katura, at that point, Jake should have realized that she is not someone that I can have a cohesive plan with. I mean, he doesn't realize that because he's half of the problem, apparently. I candidly think that he's less than half the problem. But regardless, he can't go and say that to her because she might all of a sudden realize or think to herself, oh, now Jake is a bigger threat. He's going to play the idol on me. Why don't I use this as my move to get rid of Jake and still lose to D in the end?
100%.
And so it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all what she's going to do. I have no idea. I would hate to have been aligned with her, truth be told, because I know that Jake wasn't, but I'm just saying, like,
He's a true wild card.
Yeah, it's in a weird way because she was like logical and tactical. It's not like she was chaotic. It was just like she was chaotic.
She lacked decisiveness in these moments. Is what
I think she was logical. I disagree with the fact.
She was conveying herself as logical.
That's I think is the problem. And then I'm realizing during this conversation is that Katura is the perfect wild card because when you talk to her, she seems so straightforward. Like, everybody said it in the finale that she could talk really well. So
she did. She was a fantastic storyteller.
So she's having great conversations with people and conveying herself in such a straightforward manner. And then she's doing these crazy things that make no sense. And so she is like the ultimate wild card because normally a wild card, you're like, that person's a wild card. I can't predict them. I'm not going to use them.
I'm steering clear.
But Katura keeps getting included in plans and keeps messing them up.
All right. Can I lay this out too? To me, my big problem with this moment it's one of the defining moments of the season, even in all the rhetoric I've been seeing, post the finale last night, was just talking about this vote. D, Julie, and Austin, I mean, they fucked this up beyond belief. I mean, having Katura and Jake had their pick of the litter had they come together, it did not matter anything. It did not matter anything. You cannot have a 3-way rotation vote. That can never happen.
It was like a loose. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to play with fire like that.
The crazy thing is that Dee and Austin just agreed to vote for different people.
It was agreed to disagree in the worst possible time.
They said, we're voting for different people in a 5-person vote.
Yeah.
And one of the people is going to vote for the other person that we normally would lock with as a 3 against a 2 minority.
I'm telling you, it made no sense, and it was one of
it kind of takes away from them a little bit.
Yes, it was one of my problem takeaways from the episode. I was like, D got away by pure luck. Pure luck.
100%. They made the wrong, like Katura made somebody else had to err for you to get there. Like it wasn't you outmaneuvering. It was somebody else's error, and I think that is a big deal. I think it takes away from it a little bit, is what I mean.
1,000,000%. That was in my bigger speech as we conclude later on. It was one of my big takeaways from this because this wasn't strategy. This wasn't gameplay. This was process of elimination gone wrong. I don't even know.
I think from Dee's perspective, I'll phrase this as a question to you guys because from my perspective, it seems like I think D had the right instinct by saying, I don't want to vote for Julie, but I'm okay if she leaves. but I think she shouldn't have allowed Austin to go off and do his own thing. I think she should have convinced him.
No, I'll be honest with you, Sim. If she's not gonna vote for Julie, she has to align her ass with Julie.
Yeah,
Like
she didn't
them
do.
voting for Katurah and Jake made no sense.
They
They
all
gotta
voted
align.
for different people.
They
The
cannot
three
vote for different
all
people.
voted yeah.
Those two can't vote for different people. If Austin's gonna do what he's gonna do, you can't. Those two can't disalign.
Yes, but that's what I mean is I feel like she did a halfway. She did half the job, right? She made the decision, I'm not voting for Julie because I want to make the argument, I'm assuming, at Final Tribal of like, this was,
No,
my
she
two
wanted to
numbers
lock. She wanted to
were-
lock Julie vote and let this is what she had been doing for weeks. She wanted somebody else to take their bidding of Julie, and she can have that locked vote at final. 1,000,000%. But then those two made no sense. Then you like.
Yeah, no, it made no sense. Well, what was the decoy like sort of thing? Like, what is Austin telling Julie? Are they saying we think Jake has an idol? Jake definitely has an idol. Like I'm saying, as it progresses, Jake has
We
an
didn't
idol.
see an Austin and Julie conversation. It was
Yeah,
D to
but-
Julie, D to Austin.
I agree. So, but what I'm assuming is that Julie's like, I'm gonna vote for Jake. Jake, I don't trust. I'm gonna vote for Jake, and then maybe she thought that Austin and D are both gonna vote for Katurah. Maybe Julie also was like, I don't want to vote for Katurah. I have a good relationship with her, and I don't have a good relationship with Jake. So if he doesn't play the idol, then maybe we have votes on him. I don't know what the decoy was either. Like I don't know what the plan was. It came
I don't
across as
either.
though there was no plan.
I don't think there was.
Yeah, 1,000,000% there was no plan. Here's my problem. Like, I don't know what D wanted. Truthfully, I maybe she truthfully wanted Julie to go without having done it, right? And that's what we're saying. But like Julie and D getting together on this vote, and here's my only one saving grace of this thing. If D really abstained and had a split vote to Julie, and she knew somehow Julie was going to go home by having it orchestrated that way, that's fine. But I don't think she did because it was a Katurah
No.
flip-flop at the last second.
It was a flip flop. She had no way to predict it.
So my big takeaway is that like, so then did Julie just fuck this up so badly? Like, because
I don't know
if Julie's saying, I don't trust Jake, I need to get him out. I've been talking about it for weeks. I need to get him out. But you have to sit there and say, wait a second, I need to be aligned with D because a 2-2 tie with a one rogue vote, that Julie and D or D and Austin, D was going to be able to control one of those two people, and they would have been able to vote out, and they both would have maintained safety.
Kale,
Like they opened themselves up to just shrapnel. It like
forget about the voting numbers. Julie is told to her face, Jake has an idol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen,
and you were not voting for him. Why would you ever vote for Jake? It makes no sense.
maybe it wasn't conveyed because Austin told D, I saw it physical. It was a real one. Did D not convey that correctly to Julie?
I don't know. It just seems like every single person made the wrong move except for Austin. I think Austin voted for the right person to go home in his. I mean, you could even argue it's wrong for him too because he didn't vote out
lost.
the person who
I
who
would
won
argue
the game.
Jake did the right thing.
No,
What?
well, Jake,
did the right thing.
but Jake messed up by playing his idol on
Yeah.
Katurah and not having that situation done. Everyone did something wrong, whether it be the
Yeah.
vote or the tribal.
Everybody fucked up somewhere.
D did something wrong. Everybody did something wrong. No one did anything like clean. The cleanest
So
I think
what-
was Austin.
So I
that's that.
I hate this because I what you just said was what I said at the Emily, right? At the Emily
Yeah.
tribal. I said the same exact thing happened at that tribal. The
No
fact
one
that
did the
I'm
right
saying that twice in one season is a problem. This is a bigger conversation, but it's just like it's as if people got by on I mean, again, it's the staple of the season. Caleb got by a vote on pure luck alone. It was like the staple element of this season is that people maneuvered from blunders day in and day out.
Here's the thing, though. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not as frustrated by the blunders maybe as you. I'm frustrated by the luck elements certainly. The blunders though, I'm not as worried about. I don't know. I personally like watching some seasons that don't have everybody playing perfectly game theory optimal.
Agreed.
I'm not saying it needs to be that, Sim, but these are blunders in the face of actual strategy. There really was none.
This second to last vote was, or I guess last vote was like particularly bad.
Yeah,
I agree.
particularly bad.
That
Yeah.
was particularly bad. But like I don't know. I don't want people playing perfectly because then we have nothing to talk about really.
No,
No,
I
no,
agree with that.
I understand what you're saying, but all we had was a Reba 4 just mowing down the competition.
Yeah,
that's
and they
really
did-
all it was.
And Kale, to Kale's point is that they were mowing down the competition, and it didn't take that much effort.
No,
It didn't. There was not that much of a fight back because they were fighting with each other. Like it was like a
They were
complete.
fighting against people who couldn't physically align.
The three Reba people that are left of the Reba 4 in the 5 all voted for different people. One of them went home, and the other 2 people look like buffoons. I you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, how do you compete with that? If the 2 people that are not in the 3-person alliance at the end look bad when all 3 of the people in the 3-person alliance all voted for different people and one of them went home,
It's
what
crazy.
do you do?
It's crazy.
It's like a foregone conclusion. You know what I mean? So
All right. Well,
I
I
don't
think we've hammered this.
yeah,
one.
we have hammered that home. Yeah.
Let's talk about the final 4. I want to
Yeah.
talk about D obviously won the immunity here. Jake broke the
so
Yeah.
I mean, candidly, Sim, I like that was game.
Yeah,
that was
game.
That was game.
Immunity win, game. That was it.
Oh, I knew instantaneously.
Game.
Well, I think
I said she just won $1 million
I
right
think
away.
getting to the final 4 was game
What?
because I think her getting into final 4 was game. I didn't think
Well, no,
there was
there's a path to her not making it
the
to
other
3.
person winning immunity is Austin.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, I know
Jake was in it. Jake was in it for a
I
minute.
know he was technically in it. I know, but
No, I
But
mean that
overall,
was
Austin
that was
had
a
a
good
better
challenge
chance to
for
win.
that was a good challenge for D as well.
I don't think it
Um,
was a good challenge for D. Actually, I think it was a tougher
From
challenge for
a
her.
height standpoint, I
Yeah,
agree. I was
she
thinking
has
about that. She had to step higher, but
It was the easiest challenge for Austin.
But no, he's an animal running through there. That was
You're
not,
saying-
he was not
you're
going to
saying
do well in that.
You're saying he just has more body to move that could get in the way.
Yeah,
but
and he's not nimble.
But his steps. Yes, he is. Austin.
No.
I think
He's pretty nimble. I think he
What's your
could step
definition
over
of
that
nimble? You need to be precise.
yeah, but
precise.
Austin's well on like the balance stuff.
No, but
No,
D,
he
but
didn't
D,
win any of the balance shit.
but D has.
He won the long challenges, like going. That's the shit he won.
But listen, D has to. It's twofold. D has to lift her legs higher
I
to get
agree with
over
that.
everything.
I thought about that.
So she's burning more energy the entire time. Every step she's taking is more effort. And then as the tower gets higher and higher up to 17, she's holding this thing
Yes.
over her head.
Yes.
Austin is probably almost at eye length at this point. And
I
she's holding
agree,
it.
but clearly he was a bit of an animal through that thing multiple times.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was. But I'm saying it speaks. Basically, what I'm saying is I think it speaks to D because I saw that challenge and I was like, this is actually in favor of Austin, I think. And the fact that she won, it was definitely not in favor of Jake. You know what I mean? The fact that
it wasn't in favor in Jake, but Jake. See, I disagree a little bit because Jake's mentality, again, it spoke to Austin's mentality in the little advantage thing. Jake's mentality is boom. Let me do this one time. Let me do this precise, and let me get this done. Austin is dashing all around. That's what he was doing all season. He won challenges by dashing around.
Yeah, just pure energy throwing
Yes.
into it for a long enough amount of time.
That wasn't what was going to win that one.
That wasn't going to win it.
Jake-
That's a good point.
Jake is inconsistent in that, right?
No, Jake couldn't win anything until fire. That was Jake.
I also I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I needed him to win fire so bad.
I actually
Yeah.
really did too from the standpoint is that he just would have lost every single
Yeah.
We would have
Yeah.
seen a man be broken. it was a villain arc. I mean, it would have been.
And they
Yeah,
were
he would've
teasing.
burned
So
down the
did
city.
you see what they were doing?
What?
They were teasing, saying it's over, like going back, D and Austin going back and forth, as if
He's gonna
as
mess
if it
up.
was like going to like fucking combust on itself.
Yeah, I thought that they were like, oh, like famous last words is what
Yes.
you need to say. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
Survivor
That's exactly-
was teasing us heavy.
Oh yeah, it's done. He's got it. Like I was like, is Couture's fire about to erupt right now?
This is a volcano. supposed to sprout out.
I think this is a good transition to talk about. What do you guys think about Dee's reasoning for not wanting Katurah so bad in the finals? Because
I honestly, Sim, again, I don't think it mattered, and I really think the number one priority for her was just to make sure Austin was sitting next to her, so he didn't have that. Like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
I think he
They built that whole story around Katurah, but I don't think that was number one priority. Number one,
want him to have fire.
what?
Well, we can all agree you'd rather sit next to Jake than Katurah.
Yes,
So then that's that, right? Like regardless, because
but I'm saying yes to you from the standpoint.
I don't
of
even know
like,
if I necessarily agree with that.
No, you have to have that takeaway because Katurah was more liked from a
Group perspective.
from a social standpoint. I mean, Jake was not disliked.
she
but-
was on the right side of the votes. She was this, like you could see her like
Yes.
constructing an
Yeah,
argument. that, like,
100%. Listen, I don't think either of them had any chance. We said that for weeks now.
yeah. If anything, I'm actually a little disappointed because it takes away from us being able to say, see, she never had a chance because they kind of propped it up like she did have a chance, and I don't think so.
I don't think she had a chance.
All right, so we're at fire now. I mean, fire. We could just say
fire. Yeah, she.
so.
Jake wins fire.
It was good. It was
Jake
good
wins
fire.
fire.
It was good fire by Jake.
It was a good.
That
fire.
was his highlight of the season.
It was no good.
The one thing I will point out is just random. Do you want to be sitting in Jake's spot, not Katurah's spot, right?
Yeah, Katurah doesn't want to play fire.
No, I'm talking about. There was multiple references to the wind potentially hitting her
like-
fucking spark
Yeah, I'm always going on the side
on
that,
the inside.
yeah, always that side wins more frequently.
Yeah, is that not that's not talked about really.
They gotta
like,
be fixing that. They can't be like what?
Well, Chris and Chris Underwood and Devins did it in the voting thing because it was actually really windy that night. You remember they did it like and like all the players.
and that's
were, like,
better.
looking
And
up.
that's better, honestly.
Yeah, it's more of a fair playing field. But like even
But dude, I'm being dead honest. Like that's a massive advantage. Any slight breeze to Katurah is fucking
Fucks
her.
you.
And she has a shield to that same exact breeze that's gonna fuck her. Jake has a shield too.
yeah, which is Katurah.
Yeah,
Her
so
flame.
like that's low-key kind of fucked, to be honest with you.
Well, we have to actually see like how much of a difference it is. But I actually
There's
I'm
a
not
gap
denying-
opening next to Katurah. It's like it literally should be the same exact setup. I mean, again, I don't know.
She didn't start a fire.
It kept blowing out, man. I don't know.
We see that happen like relatively frequently. People get a spark and it goes away. Like I'm saying you can't really like nail down the cause of it. Is the wind, and that the wind that Katurah is experiencing.
No,
is
I'm
different
not. I'm not.
But
I'm not
there's
saying
something
that, but
there to look into. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
don't.
something there.
I just don't. I don't like the
It's
gap
exciting,
next to the
it's
person. The gap next to the person on the left. I just don't like that.
This goes back to my theory that the Luvu Beach, or what was it, Lulu, is the same as the Ua Beach, is the same as all of these tribes that go down. I think they're all starting on I think there's rocks in the sand or some shit like that.
The windy side of the island.
It's something, and that tribe always goes down in numbers right away. I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen. So
I agree with you.
Jake wins, and
Yeah.
we get to final tribal.
And then Jake wins final tribal.
That's it.
That's
No.
it.
No, I did. So to briefly talk about Jake, because I'd rather compare the games of D and Austin for a little bit because I think that's fairly interesting. But
Yeah.
a couple of the jury members in their little, jury, roundabout or whatever you want to call it, we're making arguments for Jake, particularly one that stood out was Caleb saying like his instinct was actually a little bit better, and that's fine. Like, because I do agree, and if there's some way he could vocalize that literally he just had nothing to work with, and he tried and tried and tried. First of all, they didn't show it enough that he didn't really talk at all during the final tribal enough at all, in my opinion. Like, I don't
he
think
just cut out a bunch of his questions. Is my guess.
maybe. And if that's the case, then fine. But I really thought he should talk a little bit more, because I did think Caleb made a valid point. Because even at that point when he was trying to save Caleb, I mean, I'm being honest with you. In order to flip this game from what the Reba tribe did, you need to date yourself all the way back to that Caleb situation and try to change the narrative then. Like, like that, like you needed to go all the way back to flip it.
The problem is it's such an easy argument to undercut, where you just
of course.
Yeah, you had great instincts and it didn't work out, but you're here despite those not working out, not like because of those instincts. Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
a couple of them said that I don't know if it was also Caleb saying this, said like Jake was used and continued to be used. They wanted to get him out, but they also needed him. If he could have, my point is, I think there was an argument to be made, particularly when you had D and Austin, who played similar games, going up against each other. Like, I do think there was an argument there.
I thought he was gonna get at least one vote from Caleb. I did think that.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't think he said anything persuasive, to be quite honest, in what they showed. So I don't know about that, but
I mean, listen, the person that I saw playing Survivor on my screen would not receive my vote. I don't care what he says. Like, nothing against him. He was entertaining, but there were just so many errors throughout the entire game that were just so glaring that are just like disqualifying in my opinion. I'm sorry.
You don't even appreciate the idol find. I mean, the idol find that again was played poorly.
He did that wrong, and it's that actually wasn't his fault. Like there's a comedy of errors here too, because like there are parts of him as a Survivor player that are his problem. And then there are parts of it that are other people reacting to him that he doesn't really have too much control over. Some of that he does have control over. Some of it he doesn't.
It's so underscored how, like, Julian D needed to be on the same page, like I just said. But it is so underscored that the biggest element of the season is Katurah and Jake never getting on the same page.
Yeah.
Fucked them so badly. Fuck them so badly. Katurah can't even lay claim to the Julie vote had she gotten there, in all honesty, because it was just whatever. Like if they voted out D and they're and one of them sitting there with Julie,
they can claim it.
They can claim something.
Yes.
They couldn't do anything. But this is the thing too. This is the thing too with Jake. Like, we talked about this a little bit. Like okay, if he had said to Austin, "Here's my idol," and had a plan to go with it. There's no reason he went up to Austin and said, "This is my idol." We have no reason as to why he said that. There's no logic. Even if it almost helped him in this scenario, because had he not done that, he would have received votes and played the idol on Katurah anyway, and not known that he was receiving votes. Had he not shown Austin, what I'm saying is that the fact that he does things like this are disqualifying, in my opinion. There's no thought to that. There's no strategy. There's no nothing.
There was an ounce of it with what he was trying to accomplish. I don't think he should have said anything. You have to absorb all information before you start to make decisions. You need to understand every element before you start to make decisions. You cannot, as your first thing post immunity challenge, before any conversation has been had, say I have an idol.
Yeah, to a known enemy. Literally, like to someone who has not voted with
who has a girlfriend.
Yeah,
you can't be talking to people with girlfriends. You can't do it.
Can't do it. Not allowed.
No,
yeah, listen,
he's in the majority in a 5-person vote coming up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, there's a lot of positivity coming out of the finale and the season as a whole, to be quite honest with you. I'm reading a lot more about the ratings were the highest, I think, since 42. It beat the last 2 seasons.
Really?
42 was
Um,
good. I liked 44 too, but
I liked 42 and 44. I think I like those 2 seasons the best. We'll get into
get
bigger
into it.
topics later. But yeah, I think it was. I think he was a really fun character. Like it was fun, and I was rooting for him to win the fire, like you said, Sim. Like I couldn't take another loss on his sake. It was like
Yeah.
it was
sad.
like secondhand anxiety. It was brutal.
The TV.
But listen,
I was thinking to myself, like, this guy has to go be a lawyer tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like he has to go to work tomorrow. He's out there sobbing on the beach. There's water on the sand, and it's not from the ocean. It's from Jake's tears. He's crying on the beach. It's
It was
all
really
Jake
bad.
crying.
When he's in the confessional and he's just going, I just need to win something.
I was like, give this man a win,
He's
please.
basically just saying, like, I know I've lost this.
and I
game.
thought they were setting him up for a
Understand
loss. I really thought they
Yeah.
were setting him up for a loss. All right, listen. So
All right, that's
does
Jake.
D
Now,
or Austin get your vote?
D?
Okay, it's D, and it would have been closer if not for D's absolute like KO. in the
Yeah,
last
that's all it was.
The,
Yeah.
the absolute haymaker that she lays when she goes, actually, Austin, I did tell Julie,
Yeah.
and like that was like, that's it.
Mhm.
That is it. Without that, it's pretty close, I think.
And I get that flip of the narrative or that aha moment. I understand that.
And it's that last.
Yeah, it's the last.
Yeah,
one.
no, I understand that. But guys, like in Survivor history, like that's one
Wait,
of the more
so-
minuscule. That's one of the most minuscule things as an aha
Yeah,
to
but-
actually have on somebody.
No, but what you said was D or Austin, who has your vote? We're not putting it in the realm, the pantheon of all great Survivor.
well,
movies.
I guess I'm not. I guess
This is
and I'm not-
this is the argument. This is the argument for D, in my opinion. And Jeff is the one who articulated it in the finale. He said there were 2 instances in which D had information and withheld it, and then took information and gave it away, right? And both of those instances happen to be nullifying or voiding, or however you want to call it, Austin's advantages. So the first one came when Julie had Austin's idol, and Julie was told by D to use the idol. That gets rid of one of Austin's powers. Then the second one is when
Austin's
Austin
power.
has an idol. Yeah. Austin has an idol and plays it on himself instead of playing it for Drew when D knows Drew is getting all the votes. So that for me shows that she is a better player than Austin. And that's all I need.
I do agree. I at the end of the day, when you have a pretty steady, I guess that's the piece that I'm trying to play devil's advocate, because I do agree with you. I think I get, again, those 2 1-ups at
That's
the end
it.
of the game that mattered most and kind of rendered Austin useless, right? Couple things to play devil's advocate. Austin, we said here at the Julie, like D goes home if not for pure
Yeah.
luck. Like D
Yeah.
goes home if not for pure luck. Austin was not at risk at going home at that because he had immunity, but he wasn't at risk for going home, and he actually directed the vote to go in the, like, if there's a vote to lay
but
claim
it was
to,
a
it's
vote
a
by
Julie
pure
vote.
luck also.
What?
I think he directed that vote by pure luck also. Like that, I don't know that he can like.
I understand that, but if someone can, it was either way. Either way, there was an argument to be used there by Austin saying, "D, you're sitting here because of pure fucking luck."
But I also think that.
Or he could have spin it, "I directed the vote to Julie."
I also think this is one of Austin's problems, though, is I don't think he was the best at making a case. He wasn't that good at making a case for himself. Like
I thought D was pretty good. I don't think she was the best of all
I
time.
don't think she was crazy, but I think that Austin was worse. I just think
Sure.
like, it didn't seem like he was really pushing the narrative of I never got a vote. Like that's big. That's huge.
He's insulated and he was a threat. Like he
You know what I
like
mean? I'm a big
Yes.
fan.
So for devil's advocate,
good at puzzles. Like I'm smart too, and then not only that, like I know that his advantages got nullified a fuck ton. But did he not?
They got
have the most-
completely neutralized. That's what happened to them
I
by
understand.
D.
Agreed, and that's why I'm D. But I'm still saying, like, I still think you should be pushing the narrative of I got the most advantages in the game, a little bit too. Like,
Yeah.
Well, 1,000,000%, Sim, and I also think it's got to be reiterated that yes, I wrote and had this showmance with D, but not once was he gonna crack with Drew. Like, not once was he cracking with Drew, and I understand that. Again, at the end of the day, D got over on the Drew situation, but then right immediately, Austin got Julie back. There was a tit for tat argument to be made there, and I guess it's indicative of it being a 5-3 vote. Like, I do think that's fair to lay it out because like I said, I do think Austin played a strong game. You're right. I think D ultimately had the slightly bigger moments at play here, but I don't know. I
agree with you, Kale. That's why I think he could have made a much stronger case for himself. Like,
yeah, I guess you're talking about literally adding up all these little small things. It's just pushed it over the edge for D to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as what Jeff said. It's two instances in which D got the better of Austin in the favor, and it was very clearly displayed. Like, both things you could show. Listen, Julie saved herself with your idol, took it away from you, and I told her to save herself, and so she saved herself. And then we all voted for Drew. You could have saved him, but I didn't tell you to save him, so he went home. And that's that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And listen,
I know you're playing devil's advocate. I'm playing, the whatever the opposite to that is, like the actual argument.
God's wish. I don't know.
Yeah. But regardless, I'm saying I think here when you look at it like that, it's pretty clear cut. And I know that there is something to be said about being a threat in the game that everyone can identify. He received votes in the end because he was a contender to win, and he didn't receive any votes throughout the whole game. There's something to be said for that, how well insulated he was. But it's just not enough, and it's a little bit less tangible than what D did.
I think if you're going to have those less tangibles, you need to be able to articulate them really, really well.
I happen to think that Austin would have been better off doing what Marianne did and just save those two idols and just hold them up at the end. Say, I didn't receive a vote the whole time. I'm going to receive votes tonight because I know I did well, and here's two idols I could have used, but I didn't need to. Like, that would have been sick. I would have been happier with that,
Julie keep that idol was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it was horrible, but that was that was like their check and balance against the guys in their alliance, and that also was probably part of what D did, Julie having that idol, I think, is something that D was probably a part of,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I understand.
Did we get to see who voted for who?
Yeah.
At the end,
it was Kendra, Bruce, and Drew. For Austin.
Okay. I'm surprised about. I guess I'm not that. I mean, surprised about Bruce a little bit, but
he was checked out.
Yeah, I would have expected Bruce to vote for Austin.
He was so checked out.
I wouldn't be surprised with
how annoying he was during the game.
Yeah, I almost feel like he got a bad rap. I mean, he definitely seemed to be fairly annoying, and there was like an ounce of like he got put in his place a bit, and that's why he had this sour puss face on pretty much there.
I think he got hit pretty hard with the Kelly thing, right, in the game when he realized, oh, Kelly she was actually really annoyed by me, and he probably went back to Ponderosa and was like, hey, you weren't really that annoyed with me, right? And she was
at this point, he's also been in Fiji for 52 days plus, right? Because he was there for last season, and now he's there. He's like, I just want to go home at this point, It's a long vacation.
There probably is an element of that. There's probably
kind of a cool reveal, though. That made me think of Toast that Austin was an alternate.
Yeah, I liked hearing that. It was interesting.
Cool. Yeah,
that's something I actually want to talk about at the end of this too. Remind me that point.
Do it now.
Because we had two quitters.
No.
Let's transition.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. Okay. Is like who is he an alternate for?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I'm wondering.
Maybe they ran out of alternates. I don't know.
They could have ran out of alternates. Absolutely. I mean, who knows?
Maybe so here's here's the start of my problems here.
Here we
Let's,
go.
let's get into it, Kale.
I don't want to be negative. This is a show that I've watched since its inception when I was 6 years old. Like, it's been decades that I've been watching this show. This show is the most successful reality competition there's ever been. It is the framework of every other successful show that there is. Fucking Squid Games, the foundational rules and theory behind Squid Games is Survivor. To Challenge, which is another property of Paramount, the foundation on what they're doing there is Survivor. Everything is based on this show. So my problem is, what is going wrong where I just feel the spark is being lost? I just feel the spark is being lost. I'm sorry, I'm so stuffy right now.
He's crying. That's how much the spark is lost.
There's elements to a lot of this. Like, clearly they and I know this is the case, having auditioned myself. They are looking for very good storytellers to cast on the show, and they need good storytellers to tell a cohesive story, right? Clearly, the two quitters and Brandon, who was brutal, were casted for some reason. It wasn't screened well enough that they'd actually be casted for good Survivor gameplay. Clearly, that was completely missed, right? So there's that element, that they are very much screening for storytellers, which is losing strategical elements, losing pure villains, which we really haven't had in seasons. And I don't really know why that is. That's point number one. Point number two, and the bigger piece of this is that, like, you said it to me pretty concisely last night. It's almost become a bit of clockwork here, and Toast, and it's just like, I know we've been on Fiji for seasons now, and I know it's cheaper for the show, which is definitely a factor. I get all these things, but if you're going to do that, then you can't tell me you're going to throw themes to the wind. You can't tell me you're going to roll out Tribes of Three season in, season out. We've had 5 seasons in a row that have basically been the same exact format pushed through, and you are putting elements in the game like the Shot in the Dark to try and create a newness and ingenuity, and it's just, it's not doing anything. We're not producing new results, new elements that we have never seen before. I think back to old seasons of Survivor. I think about the Chinas, the different landscapes, the Tocantins, the different landscapes, the different formats of Redemption Island, and the moments that were made in the arena of Redemption Island. Like, there's nothing new. There's nothing different. I don't understand. And I'm sorry for my rant.
No, because I think it's good.
All good points.
I think it's a combination of things, Kale. I think it's a lot of little things that are all adding up to this.
Yes, that's really what it is. But I don't understand that. Like, how can you compound things? How can that be?
I genuinely think most of these issues is literally monetary. I do. Most of the changes that we don't like are money-saving tactics. A shorter game costs them less money. Staying in Fiji, it costs them less money. Not doing the live show, it costs them less money. Like, that's 90% of it.
Is that really?
The budget of this show has got to be spectacular.
I don't think it is, dude. I think if the budget of the show was spectacular, we wouldn't still be paying out $1 million 20 years.
Yeah,
later.
but Sim, think about again. The show at its height was everything. It was pulling in, and again, shows don't do insane numbers, like crazy numbers like they did back in the day. I forget, like, some of the numbers on like the first season.
The finale of the first season had more numbers than the Super Bowl. Like,
it was like
50 million
unbelievable.
people or something like that at the time.
And
Like,
that's non-existent. So I'm not going to claim that, right? But, like, think about think about the production numbers or the monetary that are going into some of these other shows, and I'm even talking about like all these Bravo shows and whatnot that are doing these. They the reunion shows are like big pieces of hashing out drama, fleshing out drama. Like that's not a piece of this at all. I'm
No, it's
dying here. I'm dying.
The problem, though, Kale, is from my view, like when I say monetary and budgetary issues, it's not just like the money to go to a new place. It's the money to have a large enough writing staff to have the brain power to be coordinating all of these things, right? Like it takes a larger production force if you're gonna coordinate a brand new theme every season.
I understand it, but
Have a
even
much tighter,
dude,
smaller
they have a
team.
stable. They have a stable of recycled themes that I would love. Second chances too. Fans
Yeah,
are
yes.
favorites, heroes, villains. They don't even have to fucking
yes.
create something new. I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Like they could recycle 5 seasons in a row, and I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that brings up the next point, which is what I wanted to talk about. Because Kale, nothing I say right now is going to resolve your feelings. I agree with them.
That's fair.
No, I'm
That's
not
fair.
trying to diminish them. I agree.
No,
with
no,
them
no.
fully.
You're right. And
I'm just saying
listen, I don't-
this
I
is
don't wanna sit here-
open ended. You know.
I don't want to sit here negative about the show that's been a
Well-
crux of my entire life.
What you said just now of themes that are still not fully tapped, where the market is still open for investment, is second chances, heroes versus villains. All of these things involve returning players, and we every time we have a podcast, at least this season, where we're like kind of happy with the outcome, but we're like still looking for more, which is like I feel like exactly what the three of us feel every single time. Like we like talking about it. And we like talking about the characters, and sometimes it's a cool move. Sometimes the shot in the dark negates all the votes, and that's fun to talk about. But we need to see some of these people come back. Like we need a returning season. We need to have something different where people from beforehand came and played, and we need to see people play a new game. There's like
to dial it back to the money standpoint. Do like returnee players cost more?
They're, for the most part, they're going to ask for more money
yeah, for sure.
because they know
But
that.
like, but like, what are we fucking talking about? Because it's only in like the tens of thousands.
Yeah, but if 20 people are asking for 1.5 times the normal amount,
Yeah, but the
But
challenge.
Sim, but how much are we fucking talking about? Is my point. Like, how much are we
don't
truly
know.
talking about?
That's
Because
what
I
I
would go
mean.
on the show for free. Most of these people are they get paid, and ultimately I'd want some monetary value for my time, somewhat. But I'd be
Well,
good
the
for
cha- the
$5,000.
challenge, they don't get paid. The challenge, they're not getting paid at all unless they actually win the final. You know?
You sure about that?
Yeah, they're not getting paid.
You're
they're
sure
going
about
to
that?
get paid.
They're coming back. I'm sure they're getting paid something for episodes, but they're
Yeah,
not
that's
getting
what I'm
paid.
talking about.
But there's no like tiered system the way that Survivor is. Like the longer you stay in the game, the more money you make. Especially because I mean, Kale, you've watched recent seasons where like CT and I don't want to ruin like recent seasons, I guess, but like the people who won the past 2 seasons have given away part of their winnings to the 3rd and 4th and 2nd place teams because they don't get compensated by the show, and they came out there and they played for however long it took. So I'm not saying that
longer, and that show's fucking longer.
I'm not saying that you should underpay talent. That's not like the way to vent this problem. But what I mean
But
to
dude,
say is
the
that there
people
should
on the
be-
challenge are bigger celebrities than Survivor. I don't know what we're even talking about here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
no, but that's a different thing though. Like getting people like that on the show actually is a lot easier to not pay them because for the most part they have money already and they're going on the show for like the publicity of it.
But I don't.
Is-
I honestly
You get a
don't.
little bit of, like publicity, but they, you know what I mean? Like
I don't understand how we have now. Like I didn't even see the forecast of 46. It's all new people, right?
all new people. That actually ties in pretty nicely to what I wanted to say with the alternate thing, because once they showed Austin's alternate thing, did you notice that the preview for next season showed a lot of people's audition videos for Survivor. Like it showed everybody's like videos that they sent in. I feel like Jeff is begging people to audition.
I don't think they're getting enough people.
It feels to me like they are. It's coming across to me as more desperate.
Well, dude, every other episode this season, he goes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Show,
No, I get that, and that's beaten to
the earlier point too of the themes. Themes are really hard to do if you can't find a good, solid group of people to fit each of the themes that you want.
Yeah, but the beauty, the beauty of Simi. But heroes versus villains, people became the heroes. People became the villains. That was what was awesome, is that people played into the role.
It was unbelievable.
But okay, let's look at
we are so fucking far removed to what the gameplay and what the character arcs and what everything was happening in Heroes Villains. We are so far away from that. Far away from that.
But the problem now is that we seem to be, in my opinion, like in the middle of like a very long list. And like, you know how like you remember the first, items in the list, you remember the last items in the list. We're like in the middle of the list, and like there's been 5 seasons where 3 different tribes wear the same 3 color headbands, and they're all faceless, and they're all doing the same thing over and over again on the same beach, and the same thing happens, and someone wins. That's what it feels like.
Yes, we're in Groundhog's Day.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yes, but
the problem, the thing. Sorry, just to finish that point. The thing that's frustrating about this is that this is not like working out the kinks and we'll figure it out and then we get to heroes versus villains. The problem is that the formula has already been laid out and tried and true. There's already something that we have that shows how it should be, and it was successful. So my point is like, why are we reinventing the wheel with all these things? Why are we adding a bunch of different new things? The auction was one of the highlights of this season.
Wasn't yeah.
The way that they revamped the auction was really great.
It goes last night. Did you guys enjoy the auction? Yes, everybody fucking enjoyed the auction.
Everyone did. Everyone liked the auction.
I talked about this maybe not last season, but the season before, I think. I genuinely think that Jeff has too much power in the show.
You have mentioned this.
I have said this multiple times. And I don't think Jeff necessarily.
I don't know what that means though, Sim, because I
don't think anyone's saying no to him.
Yeah, but you're acting like he wouldn't want what we're talking about.
No, but this is what I'm saying though, is I don't think that Jeff necessarily has bad ideas. I think though you get bad outcomes when there is not a diversity of ideas. Do you know like?
Yeah, but Sim,
everyone's saying yes to Jeff. That's what you're saying.
This is my problem.
And I think Jeff has this. I think Jeff. The problem is though, I don't think that Jeff thinks like us because he's in it day in and day out, and so he's bored of the old stuff. But he doesn't realize that the audience is not bored of that old stuff because we don't consider that old.
Well, here's the thing. As I've gotten older in life, and we've been through cycles now of life too, with how old we have now turned and become.
Yeah, I'm 56.
There is nothing.
That's not the audience.
There is next to nothing that hits harder and hits more pure than nostalgia does. It's the reason why we see all these reboots happening time in and time out. It's the reason why music right now has lost its spark and all music is trying to reinvent itself back and hitting samples of songs that happened in the 2000s and the 90s. It's the reason why a lot of things work.
And this is why it's a problem that no one's saying no to Jeff.
Yeah, but Sim, I don't know. Sim, he loves himself some Boston Rob. I don't know. Sim.
After COVID, his brain went, I need new, fresh show.
Maybe.
He said, I need new, fresh show.
Maybe.
And they said, yes, Jeff, whatever you say.
Maybe, but it makes no sense to me how much they seem to be against it in some fashion.
It makes
and I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist here too, talk to me quickly, Toast. I was in a live on somehow, some way, fucking Jay popped up on my fiance's TikTok, and we wrote in there, "Are you ever returning to Survivor?" And he says, "No fucking way I'm returning to that show." Like, what does that mean? Because this is a guy that routinely likes to show up on shit. So,
I mean,
like,
yeah, he's on the challenge now.
multiple times. Now, is he just
No,
saying
I'm
that
saying
because
currently on this season, you know what I mean?
I know. Is he saying that mostly because the challenge is more up his lane? I'm just like that, or is there something going on? Is there something going on with Survivor?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like he had emotion packed behind that response. It wasn't like I love Survivor. It was clearly the opposite of that, and it was
Because
like,
I thought he really liked Survivor.
yeah,
And
I
he
mean,
would be someone that I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't know where he's going to end up on the challenge. Like, the challenge final ends up being a really fucking tough thing that, like, and I think he can maybe navigate it. Like, he's very good during the beginning of the game, which is very much a Survivor elemented thing in in the early part of the fucking challenge. It turns not to be. It's very fucking physical at the end. So I'm very curious to see if he makes it and what he does in this current season, right? But he's more fit for Survivor than the challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Are we potentially never going to see a returning season again? I mean, is that where we're at?
I've been saying it for 3 seasons. We're not getting it. Maybe we'll get a new era returnee, but that's it.
Sim, that's fucking crazy.
We're not getting anybody pre-41. It's not happening.
Ever.
Well, it's just like even the finale is like clockwork in the sense that it's like, okay, I talked to these people, yada.
Pizza, champagne. I was losing my fucking mind. I swear to God, I didn't want to see the pizza and the champagne.
Yeah,
I did not want to see it.
Yeah.
It sucks. You get no insight. You get no insight into the game or the season.
Well, because they don't know what is good.
Or the aftermath effects. You don't get anything.
They don't know what actually is going to resonate or what's going to get chopped on the edit room floor. So they don't understand because it hasn't happened yet. The beauty of the finale months later is that people are going to be tweeting during the episode that Caleb
reunion
has a shot in the dark.
That's why Bravo works that way. That's why the challenge reunion works that way. Like, I'm getting more heated here because I think Survivor's lost.
But
like,
Kale,
I don't understand.
The problem with the sentence, that's why the Bravo reunions are that way, is because Bravo reunions are that way because Survivor reunions were that way.
Yes.
So it's a full circle here. They're all of the successful reunions that haven't changed anything were based on this show, who has now changed everything. And a lot of this, honestly, is vestigial from COVID, that it's still the way that it is. And now it's like it's basically like work from home, but like that never changed back.
Taste of saving money. They are never giving them that money back. It's not.
Sim, who's not? Wait, what do you mean they're not very? You're talking about Paramount?
Yes, Paramount. After COVID, they did the
CBS.
CBS.
It's Paramount now.
Yeah, whatever.
They shortened the season. They saved all this money, and then they go, well, fuck. I'm not giving this money back. Why would they give the money back?
Sim,
Sim,
I don't know. I don't think it's that. Just that. Like they made the shows longer. They cut other shows airtime for this show. Like I don't understand that.
Because Kale, it doesn't cost them anything to increase.
Yes, it does. To cut some other show?
No, it doesn't. It actually gains them more money because this show.
Yeah, because they get ads
of other shows, so they get more ad revenue.
I understand that, but they only do that with a show that has some promise. No.
If they shorten the filming schedule and lengthen the episode, that is double the.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but they don't do that with a show that they don't fucking like.
Exactly, which is a different point.
This is the modern problem of all of these companies, not just this company, CBS, all these public companies.
It's Paramount now.
It's Paramount now. Is that it's all of these executives have short-term incentives because their duty is to the shareholder.
Okay.
Damn, this is
These
tough.
These
No.
are all things I understand, Sim. But
I
you're
don't
not
understand this,
unless
but
you
you
tell
understand
me
it.
the things that I'm talking about are fucking triple $1 billion more than what it is. It's just not the case.
No, they have quotas that they have to hit. They have targets that they have to
Sim,
hit to get their fucking bonus.
an in-person
And so-
reunion can actually make money. There's a live audience that they sell fucking tickets to. It actually could make money.
Kale, it costs them a lot of money to organize that shit. Okay,
And they have
What
to
I'm
pay
saying
the
is
they have
to
to pay
go
the
back-
people.
to go back to pre-COVID, they're gonna have to take at least a season hit of profit. They're gonna lose some profit for a season. They're gonna show.
They
That's
should.
assuming that the show doesn't fucking go off the chain.
That's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't matter to them. It's the short term. It's, do I get my bonus this year?
No, but Sim,
Yeah,
Sim,
but
but
don't
Sim,
you think
then
Jeff would
you're
actually fight
risking a
against
show
that?
dying, dude. I
Yeah.
don't understand that.
Well, actually, I'm more afraid that the show is gonna die because of this, and they're gonna blame the fact that the show has just been on for a while and people have lost interest.
That's what they're going to do. That's what's happening. I said it last night in the text. I hate to say it on the podcast. They're going to get to 50 and the show's over. That's my prediction. I'm lying.
I don't
Show
think these
does
out.
not seem
I don't
like-
think I understand physically they do cost more, Sim, but you're saying, Jesus, I am fucking stuffed. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, it's not about just like, oh, I'm still profitable. It's, did I make more money than last year? Because
Sim, if the show fucking rips ratings, it will make more money.
that's the problem, Kale. That doesn't happen right away. That's a delay.
There's a lag.
No, it
There's
can.
a lag.
No. I totally disagree. This is a show on primetime fucking television that can have
And no one
clips
has
being
cable.
what?
And no one has cable.
Okay. It also streams live on Paramount. I don't care about any of that shit, Sim. Like
That
there's
was CBS.
no reason that shit can't go viral immediately like everything else does. There is no reason why it can't.
Yeah, but Kale, part of going viral, the reason the word is viral is because people spread it, right? So
Yes, because you need people to talk about exciting shit.
I understand that. But what's ultimately going to happen is you'll get one season that's really great and everyone's talking about it, and then people go, "Oh damn, I really got to check out the next season." Because everyone's been talking about
That's
that.
not
Can I-
necessarily true when you're dealing with a live show, Sim.
This is
Except
my.
aren't watching it live and then they're not getting the ads.
I have a meta question to ask because I think that this is part of this too. What's strange to me is that during COVID, they released 4, maybe 5 seasons of Survivor on Netflix,
Who the top? Yeah.
2 at a time. But I'm saying there was a strategic element to that, obviously, which was to get people talking about Survivor. It's very easy to get on Netflix and have people talking about you. I mean, people are talking about the show Manifest randomly out of nowhere. That show got canceled after 3 seasons. Like the first episode is interesting, and people
And
are
then
talking about
Netflix
Manifest.
bought the rights and created more seasons.
I know, but the point being is like it's a way to get people interested. So they used COVID time after Winners at War when there was no seasons to put the show on Netflix, air the best seasons, and then change the show completely and have totally different things. Like, why would you get people into the show when then you're going to change everything about the show?
Well, the problem too is that there's no like singular strategy, right? Like Jeff can want one thing in the way that the show is run, but it getting on Netflix is not him. That's
No, I understand. The point that I'm trying to make to me is that like you're garnering interest in a new generation of people, and then in order to keep that interest, you would think that you would want to emulate that in some way.
Hold on, and I have to go at Sim here because Sim, you are acting resigned to the fact that this is literally a dying fucking dog. Like you are resigned to the fact that it's a money bleeding dying dog, which you cannot sit here and say like it has a foundational fan base that could rally it, and it can pop off quick.
But they aren't. If they turn it
Because
around,
the show's bad right now.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't trust. We've had 5 seasons of this, Kale. I don't trust them anymore. I don't.
I'm not saying you don't trust them, and I clearly I don't know what the
only way
fuck's
for this
going
to
wrong.
blow up is for them to do something else, and I don't trust they're going to do that.
No,
They're not doing something else right now. Right now, they're not doing anything else.
I know they're not.
It's just like you don't even have a second to breathe. It's like, okay, here's the next same people.
Here's another 3 fucking Jakes.
That's what I said.
Edmonds and
It's here's the same beaches with the same color
same
headbands,
fucking
and here's the
people.
same people.
But that's what I mean is I have no faith that they're going to switch that up. And if they don't switch it up, Kale, then I am right. It's a dying dog. Might as well shoot it in the head.
Oh my god.
What I mean is you can't turn around. It's the definition of madness. You can't keep doing the same fucking thing and expecting something else to come out of it.
I know you're like at least you're giving one theory, the Jeff theory. Like I don't.
Look,
Jeff is a nostalgic guy. Like I'm telling you right now, any element of nostalgia leaned into here is better than what we're getting.
Like we got flashbacks to Boston Rob.
So it's there. It's fucking there. I don't
It's there.
understand. It's there.
Good luck. Look, and it might not be.
How much did it cost him to play that fucking clip?
He probably had to pay Boston Rob $500.
$500 million. They got no budget for the next 3 years because of it.
Yeah, Simi, I feel like this budget thing, I see both sides. Like I see like the black and white of it. Like, yes, they are saving money, and more money is good, and less money is less good. And I see that. But Kale is right. Like there has to be some sort of like concessions. Like it can't just be like more money. Like there has to be like for the sake of the show. Do you know what I mean? Like there have to be people that are actively like thinking like, okay, like longevity wise, like we might need to sacrifice in the short term.
The problem is my assumption about this and most other plays is that the people who are thinking about the longevity have no fucking say in the other stuff. They are.
But don't you think Jeff has say? Like I feel like Jeff having autonomy. If you think about like,
I think Simi's theory might be right.
Simi, I get what you're
Jeff,
saying, but like
Jeff just off the fucking rails. Like I don't.
No, but what if
he has to answer to the executives at the network though? That's the way it works.
But what I'm saying though, then isn't Jeff like the eye of the storm? Isn't he the only person keeping everything together? If the people at the execs at Paramount are the ones that are like dictating everything that happens here, like maybe he's the only thing stopping this from going down.
Toast, he absolutely could be, but he's not doing it as well as I would want him to.
Yeah,
because I think you could do a lot of this stuff that we were talking about, and I agree with you, Kale. You could do a lot of this stuff with even a shrunk budget, right? Like it doesn't cost.
Dude,
that
the
much.
challenge goes to different countries.
2 tribes instead of 3.
The challenge goes to different countries and has a bigger budget, I think.
Yeah, they do. They go to different countries.
And they do fucking crazy shit.
They do crazy shit.
And they're fucking shown on MTV. I don't understand what we're talking about. I honest to God don't understand anything. I don't understand anything. This makes no sense.
Let's do an episode next week. Let's get a TV exec in here from somewhere so they can just tell us about the industry.
We have no clue. All we know is that what we're watching right now is not very compelling, and we know what it could be.
Like I'll watch it. I'll continue to watch this show, but like, I really sat back last night. I was like, I swear to God, I'm watching the same fucking thing. I sat there last night and I could not dig my teeth in.
From the past 5 seasons, not including this season because we just watched it. 41 through 44, off the top of my head, I can name like 3 people.
Name 5. Name 3 people from season 41.
From season 41. See, that's the problem is I don't know who was in 42 and 41.
Well, no, I'm quizzing you. I can do this, but you go ahead.
This.
Yeah.
You can't do this?
Is that Ricard? I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it's Ricard, Shan. Is there
Who won
a
it?
Hannah? I don't know.
Who?
Is there a Hannah? I don't know.
No.
I'm guessing. Ricard, Shan. But, like, okay.
Who won that season?
One more.
Oh, Erica won that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Erica won that season. Oh, and then we had the professional athlete who complained about
Danny.
Danny.
Also showed up on the challenge multiple seasons.
Guys, but this is what I mean. It's all one mishmash of mediocrity.
Yeah.
I'll just conclude it here. Literally none of it makes any sense. Even these arguments you're making are logical in your theories that you're saying, but Paramount's spending money in other places that, like,
Bro, it's the new shiny thing, brother. It's the new shiny thing.
it's not though. It's fucking not. It's not, unless I mean I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you either.
I don't think that they have the speed to get. Maybe speed's not the right word. I don't think they have enough in the bank of in not monetarily. Sorry, enough in the bank in the eyes of the fans to get through another 5 seasons the way that we got through these.
They do not. They do not. And this is my thing too. It's like I would happily go to 1 season a year if it improved.
Yeah,
No
I mean, if it
question.
was epic,
I don't
They
even
can't
need
guarantee
to
it.
be epic. I don't need it to be epic. But like,
No,
here's
no,
the
I
problem.
would need it to be
I think,
epic.
too, they've set up this schedule that is unsustainable.
Kale.
Sim, you're painting a picture like they're literally spending like fucking pennies, and like I'm buying into it right now.
No.
They're literally fucking going
I
there,
don't think they're
pumping
spending
them through Fiji for fucking 13 days, getting another cast, another fucking
doing.
busload, dumps people off right afterwards, pumps them through, spends fucking $150, and here's our product. I'm buying into your theories now. But that doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It makes no sense, but I'm buying it. So that's why I'm confused.
Here's another question that I think your answers will also elucidate how severe the problem is. If someone came up to you right now and said, "Oh, you guys have a podcast on Survivor. Give me 3 seasons to watch." Right? Give me 10 seasons to watch.
I'm not naming any.
Give me 20 seasons to watch. Are you naming any
of these?
No.
Bro, these might be some of the last 5 on my list.
Because even
they are in a category. They're in a category by himself.
They can't even be compared. But I'm saying, if someone said, "I want to know Survivor. I want to know what Survivor is."
Stay as
Like,
far away as possible, brother.
No, but I'm saying, which seasons are you? You're not.
Could you do a
you're not-
mashup? Could you do a mashup of these 5 seasons, like an episode from each, put them all together, and make a season?
And see if people notice.
I don't. That's the problem, Kale. Is I don't even think that would make a good season. I don't think that would fix the problem.
God,
It's weird because
it's
we could
so
put
weird.
we could put our finger on it like a little bit. It feels like Survivor. Like it has the song came back. I was like, great.
What is that? Yeah, what is that?
Honestly,
It's like a heartbeat. You know. It's
Yeah, the dog is living.
you know what this feels like? Genuinely, if before 41, if you had told me Jeff is retiring, we're getting a new host, this is the show I would have expected out of that.
like someone
feels
else's take.
Like this feels like. Did you guys ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they rebooted it?
So no, that was.
This feels like a reboot of Survivor. Like somebody tried to reboot Survivor and just didn't quite understand what the soul of Survivor was.
The soul, Simi. That's actually probably the closest that we can get to what the problem is. Is that it's kind of been sucked of its soul a little bit.
They've lost the plot.
Yes. Yes.
There's importance placed on things that are not important, and then there's no importance placed on things that are very important.
Very important.
and there and then somehow it all gets put together, and you see Jeff on the screen, and you see people that look like they're playing Survivor, and then
you're
like
this must be
things
Survivor.
and like things Survivor like are happening, and you're like, okay, this is Survivor, but it doesn't feel the same way. It doesn't feel like.
All the trees fell over and it was just a big cardboard cutout. I wouldn't be surprised.
And Kale and I actually are an interesting case study here when you compare the two of us, because truth be told, like I watched Survivor here and there, like even in college, Kale, like I would watch with you guys sometimes, but I was never really into it. But when I did get into Survivor, I was already a fully fledged, like my brain had stopped developing, I was fully grown. Kale, you're talking about nostalgia, like growing up and watching it with your family, and I assume that was a special thing. But the beauty of it is that it worked for me even when I didn't have that experience, right? I was able to look at those old seasons and be like, there's something special here in my current state, in my current form, like I'm not feeding off of the nostalgia. It just is a really good show, and I get the nostalgia
30
aspect.
seasons in what, a year?
Yeah, like I mean, obviously we had a little time on our hands, but like
You watched before COVID. You were.
I watched before COVID, and then when COVID hit, I was like, okay, now I'm like I watched a lot of it, and I rewatched seasons, and for honestly for like a good 6, 8, however many months in the beginning of COVID, Survivor was just on in my house all the time. Like we would be halfway through Philippines, and then the next day and it's just on, and we're watching it.
It's great. That's fucking great. But like, there's stuff lost from even the 30s, man. Like, the 30s I wouldn't even put the 30s as like the best decade of it, right? I don't know what I would put as the best decade. The teens, like, would you put the teens as the best decade? I don't know.
The 20s also had like a lot of like good hits, and then a lot of big misses.
Yeah, big misses, big hits. If you include,
they were like
Heroes Villains is a 20 season, right?
I think if you say like the teens, I think is probably like the best like Renaissance period. Like that was like the.
But at least hits and misses, they're swinging. They're not even getting up to bat.
Yeah, like
I don't know what's happening. I honestly don't know what's happening. You can tell me there's some monster controlling something behind a curtain.
Scale. They got
like even the people like Gabon, right, is like what I think it's like 17, and then it's Micronesia, and then it's Tocantins sandwiched between it, and it's like great. It goes China, Micronesia, Gabon, and then Tocantins, and it's like 3 out of those 4 are like epic seasons of like amazing gameplay, awesome scenery, and not that Gabon doesn't have that too, but like great season, great characters. And Gabon is like the island of misfit toys. Everybody is like doesn't know how to play Survivor. No one knows what's going on.
I just remember Gabon being green as fuck, like mad green, so green,
and it's yellow and red are the tribe colors. Like I have it in my head, but like the point is that season is a shit show when it comes to like strategy, but it's still, people love that season. People are like Gabon fanatics. Like that's like a what's the word? Like a guilty pleasure that people have with Survivor. Like this season that's so chaotic and so horrible with terrible gameplay. It's still really good. We don't have anything like that. Like we don't have anything that's like, oh, they're bad at playing the game, but the game is still like so interesting somehow.
But I think this is also part of the lack of strategy here, Toast, is that and you said it before, I think, Kale, where like they're really looking for these people that are really good storytellers. And I think that's part of the problem, is that they've I think overcorrected into the casting, where it's like, make a great game, create a great system, and just let the people play in it. But right now it feels like they're
leaning on the people,
and they're saying, let's get great people. Because I think paradoxically, we're talking about how all these other reality shows were so inspired by Survivor. I think Survivor is now looking to those other shows and is like, well, what is making those shows so great? It's like, oh, these crazy characters. Let's get all great characters on the show. It's like, people will be characters if you put them in situations that allow them to be characters. Like, create a space where they like play.
As a reference to like Squid Games, like that we had earlier, like, which is heavily like influenced by Survivor, I think. I mean, I don't know if the actual show Squid Games was, but
it is the foundation of it is
Meaning like the fictional, the actual Squid Games, but like the reality show Squid Games.
No, but I'm talking about even whatever. Like Survivor came first. Like
Of course it did,
eliminating from even a battle royale. It's all that Survivor. That's Survivor. A battle royale. Fucking video games are all based on Survivor. That's what it is.
My point is that like the people in Squid Games were not overly compelling in any one way. Like, not necessarily. Like, part of what made them interesting is that they were human beings that were like subject to extraordinary stresses and pressures that were like hard to relate to in the moment. But that was what Survivor was originally. It was a group of strangers. A group of strangers
be with a bunch of normal people.
Yeah, and I think Simi, there might be something to be said about that. It's like all of these people who are like game bots that come on and they want to like strategize and overly strategize and they want to do this. And then there's other people who don't want to do that. And the point, I guess, being like the people on Squid Games like are like dodging bullets. Like they don't really have time to like come up with like a crazy narrative arc or like tell the story of how they got. They're just like, holy shit. Like I have to, rock, paper, scissors right now for $4.5 million. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
I mean, that's part of my problem too with these, and maybe you guys disagree, but I think part of the struggle, and like I said, I think a lot of these Survivor struggles, I think it's a lot of little things adding up. I think part of the problem too is that the only people who go on Survivor are huge Survivor fans. And so you get a lot of people who come to the game that are like, I'm making no waves because I know that works really well. And then you get seasons like the last 5 seasons, a little bit less so this season, but 41 through 44, where you get people doing nothing the whole time. And the few people who do stand out, they stick out like sore thumbs, and they get voted out instantaneously on easy votes.
Yeah. I mean, I think Katurah actually was
optimizing in the game.
Katurah was someone who missed the boat on this, though. I think she was probably somebody that wanted to play an Erica or Marianne type game where she would start pulling off moves in the end, and then she just got cold feet and then couldn't do it. Yeah. So I'm saying like there might be some checks and balances. That is not what we're talking about right now, obviously.
No, I understand. I just think that I think those type of winners where they come out of nowhere at the end because nobody did anything is a symptom of people going on being it's everyone's a super fan.
They've lost villains too.
The villains thing is huge. I
captivating.
Well.
Why is that? Why are there no villains?
Because they know it brings attention to you, and nobody wants to bring attention to themselves anymore.
No, but there were people that were just villainous, and like that was like, I don't know how to like I don't even know how to like describe it, but like
Tom Sandoval in Vanderpump Rules. I think I referenced this one of our last podcast seasons. To be honest with you, like it goes beyond crazy viral because everybody hates his guts. Like, Survivor's not casting anybody that people fucking hate their guts.
I have a theory. Could the incentives be off for villains to successfully exist nowadays? And what I mean by that is, today, if you go on Survivor, your best outcome is winning the $1 million.
Not necessarily, but I think the fame could potentially even bring you like Boston Rob.
But this is what I
didn't win for a long time, but had a ridiculous, animosity.
But this is what I'm saying, Kale, is that level of fame possible anymore? Because if it isn't, then there's no incentive to stick out in the game.
From the standpoint that you don't think Survivor has that virality to it.
Right now, I don't think it does. I meann, let's look at Marianne, right? She won 3 seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. She's got 40,000 followers.
No. I'm with you, but part of that is the show too, and like if one of the things you're saying is that you don't want to be a villain because it could ruin maybe something else you have going on in your life.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't want to be a villain because, like, getting a big fan base from Survivor, like, you're not becoming famous.
No, but okay, so
but I still think you can, Sim. And there's enough behind this still.
I don't think that they're picking people who are going to become villains, or the
Yeah.
game is not structured in a way to bring out people who are villainous.
I
So
think this is a
so-
portion of the problem.
no, sure, but I think that Survivor itself should be incentivizing it. The show
Yes.
itself should be incentivizing that behavior, because for them it would produce these virulent moments that you're
Even
talking
look
about,
at
Kale.
Squid Games. Like Squid Games, the Clemson guy,
Yeah,
like was a
I
villain.
was screaming when he got voted out. I was so excited. I was hyped.
Even the girl Ashley on the bridge not being
I was the same way, Sam.
like
Yes. But that was, I mean, even that, I'm like, you're an idiot, because it was not in your best interest to
Well,
do
it's in
that.
her best interest to just go do it.
To do it once and be done. But she was
Yes.
selfish for the wrong and was rewarded, you know. But I'm more excited to talk about that, quite frankly, than what we just watched, which is crazy.
Absolutely. But that's why I really enjoyed watching the Squid up until the end. I didn't like the ending of the Squid Game thing, but that's besides the point. We don't need to give spoilers for that. I really enjoyed watching the Squid Game show, the challenge one or whatever the fuck, because there was it felt like early Survivor, where like not everybody's optimized everything. Like people were just playing and being like crazy and weird, and you know what I mean. Like
I guess it's too because I guess it's been a little bit detached from real life, because in real life, yes, there's emotional things that you go through, but that's really all we're getting. We're not getting raw emotions of real pure fights happening. Like the only % of that was like Drew and Jake going at each other. Like that was the first time in a while we had any element of like real world conflict. Like we're missing conflict. Like they've strayed away from even so season 41 had Ponderosa that they shielded us. That was the last season of Ponderosa. They shielded us from seeing the pure fighting that went on from it, and then they cut Ponderosa. Like, is something fucking happening? Like, I'm dead ass. Is something happening?
You know what I think it is? Is all of the incentives point towards get along with literally everybody. They're not.
Whose incentives, Sim? Not the shows.
The show is incentivizing people to get along with each other as well as possible.
Yeah, but overarching, Sim, Kale is saying the show should not have those incentives because it makes the show less interesting.
You're not giving anybody. If you want people to be villains, you have to give them the ability to fuck over other people.
Yeah.
You have to present them with the option of it might be better for your game to be a dick.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that. I think they may have tried to do that, but some of these, advantages that they've given people have been ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, if you want people to be villains, you need to incentivize villainous behavior. And the way to do that is to give them weapons of mass destruction.
Or give them choices and have them
give them choice. Like I understand that they have been trying. They have been trying
to
the prisoner's dilemma, where it's like you could fuck over everybody else, but you know what I mean. But you got
and Shipwheel Island,
but it's not. It's so much easier.
What if
these contrived pull a wheel things? We've seen how villains get created. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
What if they expanded it to like 30 people? I mean, we're just talking about a different game here, but like, what if they expanded it to like 30 people?
That would be
and like they did a piece of Squid Game here where they just said somebody lucks into a situation where they just said you get to pick someone that goes home tonight, no vote.
I'm not in favor of that for this game particularly, but I do think that going in with 2 tribes and then swapping is better. Which is basically the same thing that you're saying, which is just increase the number of people and interactions, like which we know is more a season. Simi, you've mentioned that Christian has said this, right? That like and did the math on it. Like if you have a season where there's 2 tribes of 10, first of all, there's 20 people, not 18, and then you go from those 2 tribes of 10, and then you do a tribe swap into 3 tribes. There's like the most potential for interactions. Obviously, there's
relationships that can be created.
So it makes it more intriguing, and obviously we can see more interaction.
Like
cross-time
I guess
with
there might be like my final theory might be like maybe CBS wants this fucking thing to have died a while ago and like Jeff's paying out of pocket for the shit. Like, and that's just where we're at right now. Like I like dead ass. I'm like I don't like
that might be a long shot. Well,
I don't Sim. The challenge
saying
has
no
so
one-
much more money being flown into it. Like the challenge comes in with like 45 people at one time, 40 at one time, 50 the next season, 38.
I want to know the viewer numbers, because if the challenge has celebrities on it, like you've got, like
They're challenge celebrities. They're not celebrities,
I
but
see.
They have returning players every season.
yeah.
But that's what I mean is people can like develop a relationship with the show. Like, people obviously have a relationship with Survivor. That's not what I'm saying. But like, if you've got returning players every season, it's like, well, of course I want to come back for the next season. The guy I really liked, or the girl I really liked, or whoever I really liked, or this relationship that I really liked.
But like this is my
But
biggest
why are they not
conundrum.
doing
Like
it?
they're not doing anything we're saying. They're not doing anything.
I agree. I
They
agree
need to-
with you.
If they just
Like,
had
it's-
one,
It's astounding.
the returning season, I think like the actual problem is the fact that there's been such an emphasis on casting, and they're showing people their casting videos in the preview for the next season, basically trying to hypnotize you into sending in your video as soon as possible because they need to fill 48 and they need to fill 49 is all scaring me into the position that I have now, that they've missed whatever it is that they needed to do. They missed it. And for the fact that it went seamlessly from 45 to 46 without any, like anything, nothing to do with a returning season, no nothing at all, is crazy.
Is the big conclusion from this, like, when the ship has finally sailed on Survivor, like a documentary being done on what happened here? Like I like that's where I'm at now.
No, because I think by the time the show is done, it'll have dwindled so much that no one's gonna care.
No, I will still care about.
We care. We're talking about it because it matters.
There will be a documentary on Jeff Probst when it's all said and done.
This is what I mean to say. If you don't talk about having returnees after 45 and we seamlessly transition into 46, which is the same as 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45, when are they bringing in the returnee player? Like, when are they bringing...
Peridium was tweeting about it, saying clock is ticking. What the fuck is going on?
What did he say?
On returning season, he kept doing a clock emoji. What TikTok.
Bro, I mean, look, it's a problem. It's a problem for the show, and you guys might disagree, but it is a problem for the show that the only people applying for the show are super fans. That's a problem.
They're super fan villains. Like I don't subscribe to that.
No, I'm talking about Toast's thing though. Like the reason that they are fighting for casting and they're pushing as hard as they can is because the only people who apply are super fans.
So you're saying they're not getting the average Joe, which could spice things up.
Well, that, and it's a limited pool. You need a big pool for reality shows. You do need a large pool. I can understand that. Except then they have to de-emphasize what they're looking for then, because I think that the number one top of what they're looking for always is this storytelling piece of it. Like, who cares if someone can't even speak if they're gonna like cause ape shit? Like, who cares? Yeah, but then the other problem too is like they're also terrified of controversy, terrified of it.
Another good point,
like,
Sammy.
They do not want to bring somebody on the show who is gonna say some crazy shit outside of the show.
First of all, they have on it. I guess, but like,
were you gonna say
control,
like
they can control the edit.
Yeah, but if the person's talking a bunch of shit outside the show, or God forbid you have something like they did in the past where somebody like assaults somebody on the show, like that's a real fucking problem.
Is that one of the triggers here? Like, is that like one of the triggers that fucked them up? That was in season 39.
Yeah, that's
New protections got put in place after that.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
And I'm not saying that those protections are a bad thing. Like people shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
be in
obvious.
actual
Obviously.
danger on, the show. But like I do think that causes some more hesitance in casting processes and things like that, and you get less wild cards.
Yeah, I mean that does go kind of under the radar. That was like right before.
That was right before 40.
That season kind of sucked too.
I mean, the other question too that like
40?
I have to ask is
no,
like
39.
No, 39 was terrible.
is Jeff looking at Twitter at all? I'm
Yeah.
doubtful.
No, 100% he is. So you can't. Unless you have these conspiracy theories that like it's all AWOL.
No, I think
I don't know. I'm
it's
depressed. I'm
going
depressed at this point. I'm
We
depressed.
talked
I
about
do
this.
think this was great conversation, but it's
Yeah, I mean, we're
I'm
honest.
severely confused and depressed.
We're honest about it because it's like it is kind of annoying. Like I think that especially like us talking about it this season, like we happen to have missed a few of the episodes that were positive that like I feel like we could have had good things to say about, and like that definitely skews our perspective a little bit as far as how we come across to like YouTube. But like also at the same time, that I don't think would have been enough to overshadow this overarching like problem that has been going on for the past 5 seasons. So it's
This
like
is way
you know,
deeper than that. Yeah.
way deeper than that. So it's like it's tough because I don't know. I don't like complaining about something that I like doing. Like I like talking about this stuff. I like watching the show. But like it is sad to see like this shadow of what once was a thing. And then it's also frustrating, just so I can say everything that I'm feeling. It's frustrating to not be able to like fully pinpoint exactly A, what the problem is, and B, why it's happening. Like what incentives are in place and or not in the correct place that is causing this to happen the way that it's happening. So it's just frustrating not really understanding fully what is going on, how to solve it. We have like some suggestions that we talk about as far as like being constructive about it, right? Like we're talking about things like having the seasons be longer. Like I like seeing the people get emaciated. I think people make different decisions when they're starving for 39 days versus, kind of hungry at 26. I think that there's enough relationships that they keep stressing, oh, this was the season of the relationships and everything. Yeah, fair, but like when you're there for 39 days, the relationships, I can guarantee you, are a lot more firm than they are on these, because every step of the show, every stage of the show is more drawn out. It's not like it's like, oh, the 39 days, it's proportional. So every day that they have is a day and what, a half,
Yeah.
right? Or a day and a third.
Honestly, that could be contributing to the villain thing too, honestly. Because like if you have like a challenge every day and someone's getting voted out every day versus someone's getting voted out every other day, you've got a whole day to sit around and get annoyed with people and get in arguments.
I'll leave. I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying, Sam, and I'll leave my last point here. I actually don't think, again, because this is the root of all other TV shows. Even when this iteration of Survivor on CBS eventually ends one day, and let's say you're right, Sam, and ends at season 50, one of these streaming services are going to, if it's not even called Survivor, will do the exact same situation.
It's
Well,
easy to spin up.
What?
Yeah, it's straightforward to spin up. Like
1,000,000%. Like, and it's been tried before, but I don't think it's done well in the face of the actual show still being in existence. But when it's actually called and it's brought back, like with like pure like drama, like and controversy and villains, and I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's on CBS, like, and it's so mainstream. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the last
Maybe it needs cursing. Maybe we need the cursing, so it needs to be on a streaming service so cursing can be allowed. I don't fucking know.
I don't think that would make any difference at all.
I mean, there's an element to that.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I get both points. Like cursing, you mean to say like it's like they're less worried about like the perception of the show or like the,
Yeah, they're
it's a
just
lot
fucking
more
cursing at
free.
each
It's
other
more
on the
free.
fucking.
It's more.
Yeah.
I think my last point before I think we've exhausted it, but my last point is just I think the biggest thing that is frustrating me is it feels like, and I think this is contributing to a little bit of your frustration as well, Kale. It's like we're just getting no communication. There's no transparency. Like, where is somebody on the Survivor team? Doesn't have to be Jeff being like, "Hey, we're gonna make this better," because people are complaining about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're in the
It's like
minority.
we're
I don't know.
yelling into the void or something. Like
I don't think we're in the minority, but maybe we are.
What
That's
what is-
the other
what-
piece.
Fishback and Rob, like what are they saying? Like I don't really know. What are they saying about like
bro. They're so
overall?
closely connected to the show. They're like never super negative.
No, they're
Really?
real from time to time, but like, Pretium, I did saw the tweet today. Said we'll take TikTok on the returnee season. Like, what are we doing? We haven't gone this long of a stretch without a returnee season since. Is this it? I mean, this is the longest. Like, All Stars was season 6, wasn't it?
7.
Like, isn't this the longest fucking stretch? This will now have been, right? Am I wrong?
7. It's 7, and then
No, this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 42, 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 was All Stars. So that stretch of 1 through 5.
7 was All Stars. 7 was All Stars. 8 was All
7
Stars.
was All Stars? No.
I think
6 was All Stars.
no. 6 was Amazon.
Hold on. No,
6
no,
was Amazon. 7 was Pearl Islands. Then I think 8 was All Stars.
Kale, don't worry too much about it because 47 won't be one either.
You're right. Toast.
But there's no.
But then
clean
after
way to-
All Stars was Vanuatu, Palau, Guatemala, Panama, and then
fans versus favorites, right?
no, Cook Islands wasn't fans' favorites. Fiji's wasn't fans' favorites.
I'm saying Micronesia is next.
This is
Micronesia was 16, so that was a long stretch too.
Regardless, I'm saying like this is a brand new era. So when are they introducing it now? I'm saying that there's no clean way to introduce it right now.
They're not doing it.
Yeah, I think,
Man,
I
you're
think that's the
killing
point.
me, man.
no, I think that's the point.
You're fucking killing me.
No, I think he's right. I think that's the point.
Dude, look
That's
at
the
some of
point
these
we're
other
making.
locations, man.
They're sick.
We've been in Fiji since fucking.
It's just the same. It's the same.
Oh, I'm
What?
can I share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to.
I'm just. This is it. This is what we'll end on because this is the epitome of everything we're talking about. So hold on a second. I can share the screen.
Yeah, I think so. Do you see the button?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see this?
Let me turn it on. All right. Yeah, we got it.
All right. So it's showing all the different locations. Survivor, you can see all the different actual physical locations and the names. Showing the locations. We're getting to 20. Showing different locations. I was
just like
just these different themes started to pull up here. Blood vs. Water, Redemption Island, Cagayan, Worlds Apart, Millennials, Gen X. Then I saw, okay, now we're in Fiji. So I was like, oh shit, this is where the transition was for Fiji forever. Season 40 comes around, and then
they don't even put anything.
this is what I'm talking about. This is what we're. This is where we are.
The fact
don't even-
that it's literally the first time they have nothing to write there is crazy.
It's just
Because
that there's
it's
no
this. It's
titles.
just-
There's no
Yeah.
titles. It's just 41, 42, 43. There's no.
This is epitome of what we're talking about.
They're all the same. They're all the same.
And this is fucking bullshit because Don't try to get away with this. This is it. This is bullshit.
It's literally just 3 tribes of 6 new players.
Yeah. Is this not fucking nuts?
This last part was only there because of Bruce. The whole
Yes,
thing would have been
yeah.
one column.
Yes.
Yes.
And Bruce does not count.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not count.
Isn't this not wild?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's just like it's crazy and upsetting, and we've been officially podcasting for over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
we can
been
sign
fun.
off on that. It has been fun.
Yeah. We had to get it out. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually enjoyed talking about it with you too, because it's like, I mean, we talk here and there, but it's like we feel the same way. It's kind of negative, but like at the same time, like we decided to start a Survivor podcast in the midst of this, right? So it's like we have, it's kind of on us too, but like at the same
Well, the
time, like
reason we complain is because we want change. We want it to be
For
better.
sure.
We miss. You know what I
Imagine,
mean?
imagine we had podcasts back in the day. Shit.
yeah, that would have
When
been
we were 15, our commentary would have been so bad.
yeah.
That would've been good. All right.
All right, boys. As always, a pleasure.
Peace.
I'll see you boys next season.